Had to take that call. What I was in the middle of saying on that last video, though, is there's still going to be opportunities as well when some of these countries that have these retaliatory tariffs on them do what Vietnam did today and say, look, we don't want any tariffs. We're sorry. Don't do this to us. You're going to screw us. Our people are very concerned. We'll take our tariffs off. You please take your tariffs off. And then Trump goes, yeah, okay. That's the whole point. And they're really responsible over there a lot for textiles, clothing, making clothing. Bangladesh, I think, too. India and stuff like that. Anyways, immediately, they say that, immediately, Lululemon, Nike, The Gap, all these places, even if they don't have their clothing made in Vietnam, because they don't all have their clothing made there, immediately spiked. Okay, so, you know, if some of these countries have a specific niche industry, maybe it's the chips, Taiwan, etc. If they cancel their tariffs and then Trump cancels tariffs there, it's going to cause a spike in that sector. So you could be ready to buy calls, be ready to capitalize on the stocks that are climbing. I just looked at Nvidia, was 94, under 94. So like I said, when I wasn't joking when I said Nvidia's, I'll buy it like $10. You know, when you do a 40 for 1 stock split, okay, in the last 4 years. So in 2024, it was 10 for 1. Really, when you see 90, 94, okay, just a few months ago, that was one share was 940. So that's too high. So they gave you 10 shares. They diluted it, the float. They didn't dilute the market cap. They diluted the float. Understand that, okay? It's all relative. It's the same value. But the float is much larger. So all these people who think that they're in Nvidia for 94 and it's going to go to 900 are on blow because they don't understand what happened. Now amplify that times 4. So you got your 10 for 1 in 2021. They did 4 for 1 already. Okay, so that $940 share in 2024 was actually 25% of 1 share from 2021. So Nvidia was like $4,000 a share, guys. If you go back to 2021, 4,000. Okay, now you have 1 share at 94. And if you had 40 of them, it'd be 4,000, right? So again, like just roughly. Okay, so it's at a 40 for 1 split. So when it's still trading at 94 and it's pre-COVID level, or it's post-COVID, because that was after COVID, is only $5. That's a buy for me around 10, which is 100% higher than what it was in 2020, 2021. Okay, that's still significantly higher, but it isn't the mental crazy price we're seeing right now, which is like a lot of people have compared it to Cisco 2.0, like Cisco stock. Look at the chart of Cisco, look at Nvidia. It's playing out right now, right before your eyes, okay? Look for stocks that are already kind of there. Like I said, Boeing is close to a 10-year low right now. If it falls to 115, it has to fall another 20%. That means it has to fall 40% total in 2 to 3 weeks, because I'm targeting next week and I'm targeting April 17th, which are the monthlies. Monthly options have a lot more activity, okay? So I've recommended, or suggested rather, selling to open, not financial advice, but this is what I'm doing, is what I have said in my Discord. And I sold 5 contracts. I'm at the bank. I'm about to transfer a bunch more money, and I want to sell more contracts. because I don't think Boeing is going anywhere near COVID low in 2 weeks. Could it go down another 5 or 10%? Sure. But I won't get exercised if it goes down 5 or 10%. If it's 135 and it goes down 10%, that's 1350. So what is that? 125, 122.50, 121.50? The stock price will be 121.50. I'm selling to open 115 put and 110. I don't, I would go the 105 or the 100, but they only paid like $60 and $50. You're risking 11. You're not risking 11,000, but you're setting aside 11,000 at a strike of 110. Because you have to times it by 100. So you have to have a lot of capital tied up. Okay, if I get exercise shares at 110, like 115, I don't really want them at that. But if I get exercise at 110, it's not going to be the end of the world. I'll just roll them into covered calls and collect premium while it goes up. If it keeps falling, that's going to suck. That's going to be terrible. But these are educated decisions. Why would Boeing, which is it's not a duo, it's like a triopoly. You got Bombardier, Boeing, and what's the other jet? Why am I forgetting? Airbus. You got Airbus, Boeing, and Bombardier, basically the three major airline manufacturers. I'm not sure if Lockheed makes fighter jets. Possibly Lockheed too, okay? But you don't really have a lot of companies making these things, but you still have global demand regardless. So even if, say, travel goes down, right? United goes down, Delta goes down, Spirit Airlines, they'll go down. It doesn't. They still need new planes, even if travel was cut in half, because planes only last so long, and planes in the industry, they are like forced to replace them every so many years, right? For safety. Boeing's real hard up on safety right now too. So if anything, they're going to push for that even to be more strict, I would imagine, going forward, which is going to result in more sales. So Boeing, to me, it's almost recession proof at this point, because it's down from over 300, guys. It's down over 65% here from all-time highs. We go into a deep recession, like we're talking like in the 20s or 40s or whatever the hell it was, the Great Depression. We go into that, yeah, okay. Every stock's screwed. You're screwed no matter what. But I can't plan. No one can really predict or plan for literally a once in 120 year event. Like if that happens, that happens. I've scrolled out 10 years. I'm comfortable there. Nvidia, you're in year one of a decline. Like you're a lot of room to go down on Nvidia. And that clearly that money has gone somewhere, because the money has not gone to the market. Usually the money's just shifting from chip makers to industrials to consumer cyclical to telecommunications to growth to what, it's usually just floating around. Something spikes, dumps. As it dumps, something else spikes. Right now, it's just everything's down. So that money has fled the market's gone somewhere else. Warren Buffett's been in highest cash position in his entire life, which is kind of an okay stat and kind of a skewed stat, because he's had more money now than he's ever had. So that skews the statistic. But if you go by a percentage in the market of his capital, so, like 20 years in the business, he had probably 100 or 97% of his capital in the market. Right now, he has like 5% in the market. So on that basis, that was your indicator for a while now, flashing red, like, get out. I took my dad out, guys. I took my dad out in October because he's retired. And I'm like, you're about wealth preservation at this point. Growth. You had your whole life to grow. His account grew. You got to preserve what you have. Market's not going to stay this high, Father. Like, this is crazy right now. This is literally crazy. Let's get you in something secured. Zero risk. No risk at all. No risk. He was guaranteed like something like 4%. Okay? The market right now is down 20% in a few weeks. Everything from the Trump pump. So I got him out early. He missed the Trump pump. It happens. It's already gone. And we're even lower. The decision was great. It was a good decision. Not unhappy. And in the meantime, he still made 4 points. 4 points. You know, you got 100 grand, that's 4 grand. You got $1 million, that's 40 grand. Okay? Where other people lost money. People are, you got $1 million in the market in the last 2 weeks. You're down 250K, 200K, pretty much. Depends what you're in. Some stocks you are really down on. That's just like the average, right? I guess it's not 20%. It's close to 10 plus. And then again, certain stocks you're down heavily. Like I said, like just Boeing, you're down 20%. So it depends what they had you in, but you are like down. I know the stat yesterday was 10% of the entire 12% of the entire S&P 500 was down 10% or more. So, just imagine, I can only imagine the people out there that are only longs or not really actively managing their portfolio, or even if they have someone managing it, are you calling them? Are you talking to them? Are you saying, okay, after we reached all-time highs for like the 70th time last year, did you call them and go, usually you sell the top, can we please move me to a 70-30 or a 75-25 or a 90-10, meaning 10% risk on, 90% no risk? Like, God, I really wish some people would really think about what they're doing there. You work so hard to make the money, and then you don't look after it. Me, I'm a great example. Didn't look after most of my money. Looked after 10%, didn't look after 90%, right? So I'm speaking from the heart here. And whenever I say things like that to people, like the older crowd who are very they're still risk adverse. I'm going, don't be, please God, don't be as risk adverse as possible. Let's find ways of creating you supplemental income that adds up over time, so you're not so risk on, because you don't have the time of a 20-year-old. I'm 41. I don't have the time. You don't have the time to grow that shit anymore. If you mess up, you're done. You're cooked on that front. So, but in this down market, there's going to be plenty of up opportunities. They're just going to be selective, I think. You're going to see a few days where the whole market is booming, because they got to keep bulls enticed. Keep consumers engaged in their product. They don't want to scare everyone away indefinitely. They don't want to cause so much pain. People pull a Bed Bath & Beyond CFO. Just Google Bed Bath & Beyond CFO, and you know what I'm talking about. They don't want to do that. But there's been a lot of pain right now, and I don't think it's going to stop. So this is just a continuation of the last video. Wanted to bring up the textiles, the Vietnam tariffs. If Canada is dumb, and they said, well, we're going to retaliate because we have an unelected prime minister who was not elected. We're in a dictatorship. He was appointed when our actual elected prime minister stepped down. He was in the party, and they just let him be it. He wasn't a vice president, a vice prime minister, or anything like that. Just put him in, and rather than have an immediate election, they stopped all government for 3 months now, and he's making policies and shit with his party that he can't even be doing, but he's doing it anyways, and saying things on the news and making threats and promises that he really does not have the power to do. He's doing all of this unelected. We're supposed to have an election at the end of the month. Why it's taking that long, nobody understands and knows why. It doesn't make any sense. But we said we're retaliating, and we're going to retaliate on your automobiles. Okay? So we would be a bad example Don't invest in any Canadian automobile company. Don't. Short it, because Trump's going to retaliate. It's an eye for an eye, an eye for an eye, an eye for an eye. The cycle ends when you give in to the United States right now. They are holding the power. As a consumer nation, they hold the power because they're the ones buying your goods. We're buying some of your goods. You're buying most of our goods. That's how it goes. So they're the consumer, and the customer is always right. Well, Taiwan understood the message. They made the right move. Madagascar, I think, had 93% tariffs. I wouldn't imagine that Madagascar calls and says, yeah, sorry. I don't know. Who knows? But it should have a domino effect. So keep your eyes peeled for that. What was that whole prime minister thing got me thinking on something. And Ford. So one last thing here, guys. Ford and Tesla. Everybody wants to down with Tesla. Elon's evil. Elon's exposing corruption. We don't like that. We were told corruption is good. Stealing all of our taxes, great. Burn down Tesla. Not how you want to do things, especially not after 5 years of some of the most damaging, just horrific, terrible forest fires. I think arson right now should be one of the most harshly punished crimes, right below, literally murder, and then arson. Anyone caught starting fires, be it just a house fire, or a bush fire, anyone, that should be 20 years, 20 to life, parole at 20 or something, 20, just maximum penalty, okay? Vote with your dollars. Don't buy a Tesla if you don't like Elon. Don't go on X, because X, even though it's free to use, has ads. Don't go on X. Don't buy Starlink if you want internet and have Starlink. You know what I'm saying? Use your dollars. What does that have to do with Ford? Ford came out and said Trump's doing tariffs. It's really going to hurt people. Daimler Chrysler CEO, hold the thought on Ford. Daimler Chrysler CEO says there's going to be pain on the for employees because a lot of people are going to get laid off. We're not going to absorb the cost of the tariff. We're going to put it on the consumer. He sounds like a douchebag. They made $6 billion profit last year. Not revenue, profit. They had $200 billion revenue, or not $200 billion. Whatever their revenue was, go look it up. It is irrelevant. The statistic I remember was $6 billion profit. They won't take a pay cut. CEOs, government employees giving themselves pay raises. It's insanity. Vote with your dollars. Don't buy a Chrysler. Don't buy any Daimler product. Don't buy a Tesla if they don't want to do things, cater to people's wishes. Tesla's a iffy subject, but I'm just saying, vote with your wallet. Ford said, no employee pricing for 2 months. We know this is going to be tough. Employee pricing for 2 months. Buy a Ford. Ford, please sponsor my video. Please sponsor my channel. Please send me a cheap Ford. I would love a Bronco. I wanted a Bronco. They don't hold their value for some reason, but I wanted one. Buy a Ford. Fords are cheaply made, as in not cheap to produce, as in they're not made well. They need to change. This is all this manufacturing is supposed to be coming back to the U.S. It's a good opportunity to make good changes and improve your product. We had 5 years of shrinkflation. Everybody's well aware of it. 5 years of them raising prices and reducing quality. We need to 180, okay? We need lower prices, higher quality. So that's going to give you customer retention, brand value. It's going to increase your brand value. That's going to give you customers for life. You get a customer who buys your Ford, they're probably going to buy a Ford on their next car because they're coming into the dealership. The dealership's treating them nice on their services, where you make most of your money. You don't make most of your money on the vehicles. You make most money on the maintenance. Make them better so we don't have to come in as much. We don't want to be in there with a new vehicle. We don't want to see you. We want oil changes, and we want to, hey, you thinking about a second car? That's all we want for 5 or 7 years. We don't want shit to happen to the car. Okay? Tires and brakes and oil. That's it. Regular maintenance, wear and tear. Then when they do get hit with a transmission issue, Dodge, who has shit transmissions now after 1 year and massive recalls, then when we come in, we're okay to get the transmission fixed. Or this, or, CV joints, struts. That's fine, because that shit will wear down over time. It is a machine. We get it. You guys really got to change your attitude to the consumer before the consumer leaves you forever. You look at BYD out of China. You look at all these foreign markets, the innovation that's happening. We're not only are we not keeping up, it's like as if we're cavemen and they're astronauts. Or I shouldn't say astronauts, because let's face it, we really have not been to the moon. That's the biggest scam going. Rocket scientists, though, right? We're cavemen and they're because it's not even close. It's night and day. And then even the price. They've got SUVs coming out of China. BYD is incredible. 20 grand. Just look at some of their vehicles and then the U.S. price equivalent. There is no reason why Americans and Canadians should be paying what we pay. Our wages are higher. We should be paying more. They shouldn't be trying to sell you a new Dodge truck for 110 grand up to 155 grand. You're off your friggin' rocker. A Jeep is not 79 grand. They were like 45 grand for forever. And at 45 grand, people didn't want them because it's a 20 grand vehicle that was cool. So it's 45 grand. And it sure as hell ain't 70 grand. They can't even sell Jeeps anymore. Jeep might go bankrupt, guys. Like, they might go bust. I'm not joking. Jaguar basically went bust. They just got bought out. They went and they did all this queer stuff and ditched their logo and shit. No one wants a Jaguar. Brands are a big thing. Ford has an opportunity right now to change it, to turn it around. And they're the first to realize what's going on here. And who pads their wallets? Government doesn't pad their wallets. People pad their wallets. Me and you and I. So let's vote with our wallets on products going forward, guys. No more getting price gouged. No more putting up with shrinkflation. Demand lower taxes from government and lower spending like Dodge has been trying to do. Vote with your wallet. It's the only thing rich people listen to. They don't care about ethics, morals, animal cruelty, nothing. They just care about money. And that's the only thing that's going to get their attention. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. Free from it all.